Florida Congressman Michael Waltz, along with the author of The Strategy of Denial, former Trump Defense Department official Elbridge Colby. Bridge, let's start with you. Without the javelins, without the stingers, they've got no shot. Are they getting them fast enough?
Well, I think, as you said, Sean, it's already a case of somewhat too little, too late. But I think it does sound like the stuff is getting in there along those, as they call them, rat lines. But I think, what Ilhan Omar said, these people are standing up for their country, for their lives. We need to give them what they need. They can't fight with Nerf bats or something. So we should be ensuring that they can get the weapons that they need very quickly. Because in a conventional fight like this, matters of sort of 1 or 2% can mean a dramatic difference.
Congressman, I'm a no boots. I want to be very clear. Not one American soldier needs to be drawn into this at all. But I do believe that we have, Congressman, other options, as Elbridge was just saying. And that is to provide them the means to fight their own battle. Now, we learned a thing or two under Donald Trump. Now, under Biden and Obama, the ISIS caliphate was built out. Under Donald Trump, using modern warfare, weaponry, and technology, he was able, with pinpoint accuracy, to have missiles fired and buttons pushed in Tampa Bay, Florida, that took out the entire caliphate and defeated them in no time. Why wouldn't the same strategies be used by NATO allies in this case? And I'm not saying the U.S.
Yeah, Sean, and President Trump also understood deterrence. And as Iran was ramping up, attacking international shipping, attacking energy supplies, even attacking our embassy, he took out Soleimani and authorized that operation, and Iran was quiet ever since. In this case, I just want to say one additional thing on the stingers that Elbridge was talking about. They didn't get them soon enough. They've been begging for them for months. We were briefed in the Armed Services Committee that the United States couldn't send them stingers because we didn't have the type of variant. It had some classified technology on it. Therefore, we couldn't give it to them. Now here we are 8 weeks later, finally giving it to them. You know what the problem was? 3 screws to take a part off. That's what it took the administration months to figure out. And imagine if the Ukrainians had had those stingers on the rooftops on day one. So I agree with you, not one American boot on the ground, but this administration, too little, too late. And they also asked for anti-ship missiles to defend their ports. They didn't receive them. If they had had those, we'd be in a very different place in the Black Sea too. So they're trying to make up for it now, but it's Zelensky that is rallying Europe and rallying the world, not Biden, who's leading from the rear.
Elbridge, I'm having a hard time understanding this 40-mile convoy that has been stuck in one place. I don't know, what is it, day 4, 5, 6 now? And 2 things I would have imagined would have happened by now. Number one, the Ukrainians, if they had the weaponry, they would have taken out the whole convoy. That has not happened. Or number 2, a worst-case scenario for the Ukrainians is that convoy would make it into Kyiv and there would be a massacre that I shudder to think about, but neither one has happened. Why?
Well, I don't think we know. I think the Russians seem to be trying to accumulate as much combat power as possible. I mean, they've seemed to have fallen off their original overly optimistic plan, which was kind of decapitate the country and then just install a new government and sort of skedaddle out and on their terms. And now they're basically bringing mass, but they're facing real problems, Sean. I mean, they have a lot of troops, but fewer than 200,000, and now the Pentagon saying they're 100% committed. And for a country the size of Ukraine, that's pretty small. So they're having trouble, achieving even their sort of early stage objectives. And I think here, Sean, our goal has got to be to walk a fine line, but achieve our goals and not be scared of our own shadow. Look, we've been down this road on the other side before in Vietnam, where the Soviets, now the Russians, and I mean, Vladimir Putin was in the KGB, so he knows this history. They made our lives very difficult. So in a sense, look, this is a very dangerous situation. This could escalate. I fully agree with you about boots on the ground and so forth. But we don't have to sit back. And things like the MiG example, look, we have a CIA, we have special forces, we have ways of working these things out. Congressman Waltz was talking about the stingers. You go back to Afghanistan, we are practiced at this. We need to dust that off and give the Ukrainians what they need as quickly as possible to have the effect that's necessary and essentially put the Russians in a tough position.
But, Bridge, we had months we were watching this buildup happen, and everyone's saying, oh, he's just faking it. He's never going to go in. And I'm like, what about Georgia in 2008? What about Crimea annexed in 2014? I want to ask you, Congressman, though, the same question. That convoy remains stagnant. They're staying in the same place. Why haven't the Ukrainians taken them out? And why haven't they made their move to Kyiv? And if they did, I don't like the outcome that I think would happen.
Yeah, Sean, well, the briefings we received, that convoy does have Russian anti-air defenses around it, and it is being protected by the Russian Air Force. So even though the satellite imagery makes it look like a sitting duck, to actually get at it from the air is harder than it looks. But the fact that it's stuck there is, one, due to Russian incompetence in command and control, but two, they have huge logistics problems in terms of fuel and food.
Congressman,
and resupply.
not to interrupt you,
but
if they
sure.
had javelins, they couldn't fire them at that convoy successfully.
Yeah, they could get closer to it, but they have to get behind Russian front lines. The tanks and the armored personnel vehicles that are in front of that convoy, marching towards, slowly grinding towards Kyiv. But, Sean, this is going to get worse before it gets better. We're seeing them drop landmines on humanitarian convoys. They did that in Afghanistan. They disguised them as toys so that kids would pick them up. They sent missiles into hospitals in Syria. And my fear, and watch for this, they also in Syria had false flag operations to justify the use of chemical weapons. And I fear that Putin is about to go to that next level because he cannot lose for his own grip on power. And Russian doctrine is to break the back of the Ukrainian people.
Is that your gut, or is intel showing that as a possibility?
Well, I can't get into what the intel is showing, but that's what they've done historically. They did it in Syria, and it is part of their doctrine to continue to escalate, to sow panic, and just watch for that.
God help us. Anyway, thank you both.